Welcome to Talmudic Treasures. Today we're learning Nedarim, page 11, which discusses a situation where a person uses a bit of a cryptic language, and they say that they want something to be la chulin. Now, chulin is something which is not holy, but the word la, which really could just be a prefix, which means to, could also be the beginning of the word lo, no. So it's possible what this person is actually saying is, I do not want this item to be of no holiness, but rather I would want the opposite. I want this to be considered to be of sanctity, of holiness, and therefore it will be forbidden to me. So in this, the Talmud tells us that actually it works. That the fact that you said this, even though what you really did was you didn't say, I want this to be holy and sanctified, which makes it forbidden to me. You said, I do not want this to be something which is not sanctified. So basically you're using a double negative. And on this, the Talmud says, we're going to say that that's good enough. Now the truth is, it's an argument. When it comes to monetary issues, whether or not we say this concept, which in Hebrew is, do we hold Mechlal Lav Ata Shomeh Hein? When you hear the negative, are you able to infer from that the opposite, and therefore you can understand the positive? So that is the question. Just because someone says something about the negative, and therefore maybe you could deduce the positive as well. So it's actually a dispute whether or not that's the case. And the reason why perhaps it would not work is we find that when the tribes of Gad and Reuven went to Moshe, they did not want to settle in the land of Canaan in Israel. Instead, they wanted to stay in the Transjordan. So Moshe used a double language. He said, if you come and fight with us for the land, and you help us in that process, then you can keep the land in Transjordan. But if you don't, then you're not going to be able to. So it's interesting that it was chosen, this double language. Spoke about the positive. This will happen if you do the right thing, and this will not happen if you don't listen. And we deduce from this that it's necessary that that's how you have to make conditions. And therefore, according to one opinion, based on that biblical story, if a person would reverse or just say the negative, we don't necessarily deduce the positive. However, we do hold, because of vows in general, we want to go strict when we're unsure, and therefore we say it actually is going to be forbidden. But certainly this teaches us, as we know, a person can speak in a confusing way and not really get to what they're trying to get at. And the question is, are we able to just deduce what a person is saying and make inferences, and based on that have legal which could potentially have legal ramifications. So the reality is the Talmud elsewhere discusses this at great length and tries to understand that just because you say, oh, I don't like vanilla ice cream, does that infer that I like chocolate ice cream? Not necessarily. It could just mean I don't like this, but it doesn't necessarily shed light on the opposite. It's possible that I may not like chocolate ice cream either. And of course, the Talmud doesn't talk about ice cream, but I guess that's on my mind. The idea is that when a person is speaking, a person could speak in a negative way, and therefore we can say, oh, well, let's think about the positive. Or a person could just say it correctly originally, and that would certainly alleviate the problems. But we certainly can also deduce another important idea: someone who speaks negatively. Just because someone speaks negatively, should we automatically deduce and understand and look into what they're saying, that it could possibly mean, oh, you know what, maybe something else is going on, right? Maybe I could deduce something else from their negativity. Or do we say, let's call a spade a spade. This person is negative, and therefore we're not going to deduce anything else from it. Hopefully, when a person speaks, we should only speak positively and clearly, so there's no ambiguity, there's no uncertainty in anything that we say.